What if the woman who inspired the most famous monster story in history had one more story to tell, and she chose to tell it by possessing a dead woman in 1930s Chicago? The screen opens with a simple, chilling fact. Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein when she was just 18 years old, on a dare. But that's not the whole story, because Mary Shelley herself appears, not in flesh, not in memory, but in some strange space between life and death. A limbo. And she is not happy. She tells us that her true vision, her real story, never made it onto the page before she died. The world got a version of Frankenstein, but not her version. So she decides to finish it herself. And she's going to need a body to do it. Chicago, 1936. A woman named Ida is sitting in a restaurant. She looks perfectly normal until she doesn't, because Mary Shelley slides right into her like a hand into a glove. Suddenly, Ida starts talking in a sharp Cockney accent, pointing fingers and ranting loudly about the crimes of the man sitting across from her, mob boss Vito Lupino. A big, dangerous man who does not appreciate being called out in public. Lupino nods to his two lackeys, Clyde and James, and they quietly pull Ida away from the table. They drag her to a private area, thinking they'll scare her into silence. But Ida keeps going. She won't stop. She's laughing, ranting, completely out of control. So they move her near a stairway. And she falls. Her neck snaps on the way down. Mary Shelley looks at the broken body on the floor and smiles. She, Shelley announces, is now the motherfucking bride. Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, something enormous steps off a train and into Chicago. His name is Frank. He's the creature. The monster. Victor Frankenstein's greatest creation and greatest mistake. He has been walking this earth for over 100 years, alone, hollow, and desperate for something he has never had. Connection. Frank makes his way to the home of Dr. Cornelia Euphronius, a brilliant, eccentric scientist who has spent her life studying reanimation. She lives in a cluttered, dim house with her assistant Greta, and when Frank shows up at her door, Euphronius is completely stunned. She has read about him. She has theorized about him. But seeing him standing there in person is something else entirely. Frank doesn't waste time. He tells her exactly what he wants. He wants a companion. Over a century of solitude. Over a century of being feared, chased, rejected. He has read Euphronius's work. He believes she can do what Victor Frankenstein never finished. Create someone for him. Someone who understands what it means to be like him. Euphronius is reluctant. This is not a small thing he's asking. But something in his eyes, something unbearably sad, convinces her. She agrees. That night, they go to a cemetery. They find Ida's grave, freshly dug, barely settled, and they pull her out. Back in the lab, Euphronius gets to work. She runs her experiment on Ida's cold, still body. The machines hum. The current flows. And then the movement. Ida opens her eyes. But she has no idea who she is. No name. No memories. Just a pair of wide, confused eyes staring at a world she doesn't recognize. And her skin, stained deep black from a fluid Euphronius used in the reanimation, makes her look unlike anything the world has ever seen. She's not quite Ida anymore. But she's not entirely gone either. Because somewhere inside her, Mary Shelley is still there, whispering, watching, occasionally taking the wheel. Frank sees her and is immediately, completely smitten. But the first night doesn't go smoothly. Frank is sleeping, and she creeps toward him, curious, reaching out, and he wakes up startled and swings. His massive hand connects before he even realizes what he's done. He is horrified. She is shaken. But they move past it. Over a meal with Euphronius, Frank makes a decision. He takes Ida out into the city and tells her something that isn't entirely true, that she was his bride once before. That she died. And now she's back. He is filling in the blank spaces of her memory with a story. His story. Because he wants her to belong to him. And she, with nowhere else to go and no past to hold on to, listens. Frank takes Ida to the cinema. On the screen is his favorite actor, a smooth, charismatic star named Ronnie Reed. Frank watches him with pure admiration, completely lit up. This is the one thing that makes the monster feel almost human. Then they go to a nightclub. Ida drifts toward a group of showgirls, glamorous, loud, free. She's drawn to them. She watches them laugh and move through the room like they own it. For a moment, something flickers in her, something that isn't Frank's story. Something that might be her own. But the night takes a dark turn. A group of punks corners Ida. They get in her face, grabbing at her, not backing down even when Frank steps in. He tries to move them off peacefully. They follow the couple into an alley and keep pushing. And then Frank stops trying to be peaceful. He grabs both of them and smashes their heads together. Fatally. Right there in front of everyone. The crowd sees. The crowd screams. Frank and Ida run. Frank is panicking now. He knows how this goes. He's lived this story before. The monster is spotted, The mob comes and everything falls apart. He tells her to hide, to stay safe without him. But Ida doesn't listen. She looks at him and says she's coming with him. And just like that, they're running together. They board a train heading to New York City. No tickets. No plan. Just two impossible creatures hurtling through the dark. A security guard finds them. There's a struggle, cramped, desperate, dangerous. And then Ida shoves the man. He flies off the train. His head hits the tracks below. Back in Chicago, two detectives get the call. Jake Wiles and Myrna Malloy, partners who clearly have very different personalities but the same dogged determination. They get reports of two bodies at the nightclub. They get the report of the guard on the tracks. They connect the dots and start moving toward New York. The chase is on. Frank and Ida arrive in the city and try to disappear into the crowd. Frank changes his clothes. Ida stares at herself in a mirror and tries to remember something, anything. She can't find a name. So Frank gives her one. He calls her Penny. Alone together for the first time, Ida, Penny, tries to get close to him. She reaches for him. She wants more than just company. But Frank pulls back. Something in him can't fully open up. Not yet. Maybe not ever. They go to a movie theater to lay low. On screen, Revolt of the Zombies. The irony is thick. And then a man in the row ahead of them gets too rough with his date. Penny doesn't just sit there. She hits him. The man turns around and looks at them and recognizes them. The killer monsters. The creatures from the papers. The theater erupts. People scatter and scream. Frank and Penny run again, bursting out into the streets of New York. They stumble into a fancy party. Frank spots Ronnie Reed across the room, his idol in the flesh. He disguises himself as best he can and works his way through the crowd toward Reed. He approaches him with genuine warmth and admiration. He has waited years for this moment. And Ronnie Reed is a complete jerk about it. He dismisses Frank, looks right through him, treats the admiration like it's pathetic. Frank is crushed. But then he turns to Penny, and they start to dance. Something strange and wonderful happens. As they move, the other guests around them begin to match their rhythm. Without knowing why, without being asked, the entire room starts to dance the way Frank and Penny are dancing. Like the two of them are broadcasting some invisible signal. Like they're briefly, beautifully possessing every person in the room. But then Wiles and Malloy arrive. Penny spots them. She grabs Reed and holds a gun to him. Wiles steps forward carefully, and there's something in his eyes when he looks at her. Recognition. Not of a monster. Of someone he knew. In the chaos of the standoff, a shot goes off. A cop goes down. Penny didn't mean it. But he's dead. Frank and Penny run. They find a car, hotwire it, and tear out of New York. And somewhere in that frantic escape, breathless, terrified, alive, they pull each other close. Their first real kiss. On the open road, something shifts. Penny stops being Penny. She looks at Frank and says her name is the bride. That's who she is. That's who she's always been. And as they drive toward Niagara Falls, something extraordinary begins to happen. Word of the bride is spreading. Women across the country, women who have been beaten, silenced, controlled, start hearing her story. And they respond. They dress like her. They move like her. They cause chaos and anarchy and beautiful, terrifying disruption. The bride has become a symbol without even trying. Back in Chicago, Lupino hears the news. The woman his men were supposed to kill is not only alive, she's a legend. He is furious. He has James executed for his failure. And he sends Clyde to finish the job. Properly this time. Out on a lonely stretch of highway, a cop pulls them over. He takes one look at the bride, and decides he can do whatever he wants to her. He tries to rape her. Frank shoots him. And the bride, without missing a beat, without flinching, bites his tongue clean out of his mouth. These are not people you want to mess with. Wiles and Malloy catch up to them at Niagara Falls. Wiles pulls the bride aside and speaks to her urgently. He's not just chasing her. He's looking at her like he's looking for someone he lost. He tells her to stop. To walk away from Frank before it's too late. Later, Wiles comes clean to Malloy. He knew Ida. The real Ida. They were working together, building a case against Lupino, trying to bring him down from the inside. And then she died. And Wiles has carried the weight of that ever since, convinced that his plan got her killed. He looks at the bride, this impossible woman with black-stained skin and no memory, and he can't bring himself to arrest her. He retires from the case. Malloy takes the lead. Frank and the bride end up at a drive-in movie theater. Under the open sky, with the film flickering in front of them and the sound of the falls somewhere in the distance, Frank does something he has never done before. He proposes. And then, because she deserves the truth, he tells her everything. He admits he lied. She wasn't his bride before. He didn't even know who she was when he asked Euphronius to bring her back. He just needed someone. He just needed her. He doesn't know if she'll forgive him. He doesn't know if she'll stay. But before she can answer, a gunshot. Clyde steps out of the dark. He's been tracking them. And Malloy is right behind him, closing in from the other direction. Frank takes the bullet. He goes down. The bride screams. She pulls his body close. And she runs. The bride brings Frank back to Euphronius. She begs the doctor to save him, to do what she did before, to bring him back. But Euphronius hesitates. She tells the bride something she has never told anyone. She tried this once before, on her own husband. She brought him back. But when he opened his eyes, he didn't remember her. The man she loved was gone. A stranger looked at her from inside his face. There's a real chance, she says, that if Frank comes back, he won't remember the bride at all. The bride doesn't move. She stays beside him. And then Clyde walks through the door. He shoots the bride. She crumples to the floor. Seconds later, the police flood in. They see her on the ground, a gun in her hand. Malloy scans the room and makes a call. She sends her officers after Clyde. She leaves Euphronius alone. Alone with two bodies. Two impossible, extraordinary people who just wanted to find each other. And then Mary Shelley, who has been watching all of this, guiding all of this, appears one final time. She rises from the bride's body. And she moves toward Euphronius. The story isn't over yet. Outside, Clyde is arrested. Malloy stands in the street and looks up at Euphronius's lab. Light is pouring out of the windows. Something is happening up there. We don't see their faces. We don't hear their voices. We just see two hands, reaching through the dark, finding each other, holding on. As the credits roll, the world keeps moving. Lupino, the mob boss who started all of this, is finally arrested. Whatever Ida and Wiles were building together, it worked. Even from beyond the grave, she finished what she started. And across the country, the women who dressed like the bride, who took to the streets and caused beautiful chaos in her name, they are celebrating. Not because a monster was defeated, but because something was created. A bride. A symbol. A woman who had no memory and made herself into a legend anyway. Mary Shelley finally told her real story. And it was nothing like the book.
If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos like this.